Hello, everyone. Dalton and I decided that we were going to do a video discussing the Final Fantasy VII Remake demo. This is supposed to come out next month. World ending pending. But, yeah. I don't want to get into all that, but shit sucks. This was supposed to come out next month, and they put up a demo. And this is my third time playing through this demo. And I want to explain where I'm coming from for this. I have played the original. I still have, I have beaten it. I have my original discs from way back in the day. They still work. The gameplay that I uploaded of the original game in 4K to the raw gameplay channel was actually taken from a ROM made from my discs. So that was like a copy of my own personal copy that I was playing that from. I have the Steam version, I have the strategy guide, and I have the version on the PlayStation. I have a PlayStation Classic, which I've done videos on, and I have the version included with that. So I'm fairly experienced with this game. Having said that, this is not one of my favorite Final Fantasies. Oh, hi, Aerith. She is not in this demo. You only see her in this intro movie that is very similar to the intro in the original game. Dalton, however, you've never played this, right?
No, but I have started playing it fairly recently, actually. I basically got up to the point of where the demo ends, or like, oh, well, I got farther past that, but...
Yeah, I did buy you the Steam version of this game some time ago, and I told you, if you play the Steam version, which is a pretty good version, you get higher quality models than the original game had. So it takes all the polygons of the original game and replaces them all with high resolution polygons.
Yeah.
You get a clipping issues for the original PlayStation version, which was a common problem back then, is largely eliminated. Texture warping is largely eliminated, and you can run it at higher, more modern resolutions. And obviously, there's also you can mod it to make it look even better.
Yeah.
But it's a sharper looking version for all the polygonal models. Now, backgrounds look kind of rough because they were originally meant to display at 320 by 240 on an old CRT television. And they looked fine on that, but once you start boosting that up to high resolution, it looks kind of rough.
Get down here, mate.
Yeah, they can kind of stand out at times.
Yeah. That's because all the background... It's like upscaling the original PlayStation version of... Resident Evil, which I know you're very familiar with.
Yeah.
Doesn't look good in high definition, right?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
It's kind of like, it's the same thing as that because it's pre-rendered backgrounds, and they looked amazing nowadays, back then, but they're such low resolution that they look kind of rough on modern TVs. Is what it is. Are you familiar with the history of this particular remake?
Who goes there?
Vaguely. I mean, I remember seeing the tech demo from what was it, 06 or 07 or whatever it was. I remember seeing that.
05 or 06, because it was... the PlayStation 3 was released in 2006. And when they announced it, they had a tech demo of Final Fantasy VII that literally all it was designed to do was show off what the PlayStation 3 was capable of. That was it. That was all it was supposed to do.
It ran at 60 FPS from what I remember, and it looked really good at the time. And
it did. It was gorgeous. Obviously, it was high definition, so you get the highest resolution you would usually get is 720 by 480 on the PlayStation 3, and that was on the PlayStation 2. That was widescreen games, which weren't common on it.
Yeah. But I guess I'd... Oh, yeah, go ahead.
There were some, like God of War 1 and 2 had progressive scan and widescreen, so you'd get the 720 there and things like that. And it looked good when it did, but it wasn't common. Anyway, say what you're going to say.
Yeah, but I guess people saw that tech demo and they thought I guess a lot of people thought that was like a teaser for an actual like remake of the whole game. So
Yeah.
like gave a lot of people hope for an actual remake. But
Yeah.
I don't think they actually wanted to remake the game. In all honesty,
They didn't, because for the next 10 years, pretty much literally 10 years, I don't remember when they announced this remake, but for about the next 10 years or so, every single time that someone interviewed Square Enix, it would be fucking brought up, like, are you guys remaking this? And they kept saying, no, we're not remaking it, it would be way too much work. And they did this over and over and over and over again, because fanboys would not shut up about it. And I'm going to be honest, I got sick of it, and I eventually told people, just, it's not going to happen. Please stop talking about it. You know?
yeah, really.
Because you say the same thing over and over again, you eventually just kind of get tired of it. And then it was at E3 2015 or 2016. Do you remember which one it was?
Yeah, it was. I think it was 2016.
Yeah, it was a few years into this current generation's life cycle, which is very nearly coming to an end, because we already have the tech specs for both of the current next gen systems.
You're coming.
So they're coming.
Can't get surrounded.
Yep.
Try harder.
But they announced that this remake was going to happen with a CG trailer. No gameplay, just a CG trailer, and it took them forever to get us gameplay, because the remake originally was outsourced to a company that is best known for making a mobile game called Final Fantasy VII G-Bike. And you haven't gotten to this section of the game yet, but there's a section of the game that it's based off of, where you are on a motorcycle. You're playing Cloud here, the main character. You are on a motorcycle, and your friends are all piled into a truck. They're driving down the highway. You're getting chased by people from Shinra, which is the company that owns this reactor that you're raiding in this demo. And you are using your sword to just knock them down and keep them away from the truck so it won't get so damaged and blow up. That's basically what it is.
Yeah.
And they made a mobile game out of that was like a survival mode. It's like, we're going to throw bosses from the game at you in this thing, and you can level up and survive as long as you can, and make further and further progress as you level up more and more. It's been discontinued. It was discontinued in like 2018 or something, so you can't even get it on a Japanese phone anymore.
Oh shit, I've seen something.
Yeah, but it was only in Japan, and Square was rather impressed with it. And they're like, so you guys want to remake this game? And they're like, yeah. Then fast forward a couple years, Square was very dissatisfied with how little progress was going on, and they decided to do it in-house.
Which is probably for the best.
Yeah, that's the build that we're looking at. It's a mix of original Final Fantasy VII team members. Some of them are still there at Square all these years later. And that's 23 years later.
That's crazy.
That's a long time to work at one company. And newer guys that were probably played the fucking game when they were younger.
Yeah. That's a cool dynamic with like the people who actually worked on the original game and the people who grew up, who were inspired by the game. It's a good combination of people working on the remake.
Yeah. I have to wonder how some of the fanboys are going to respond to this because it does not play like the original game.
No, it doesn't. No, I mean, even the little I played, I can very staunchly tell a difference.
Yeah, the original game is very much. It's got its own in-depth intricacies and everything with the materia system and everything, but it's mostly just a fairly typical Japanese role-playing game.
Yeah.
With wonderful with an excellent score and an interesting story and world. And it's a story and world that people largely fell in love with.
Come on, nobody do.
And they had like a big marketing campaign. I remember them putting out commercials for this that looked like movie trailers. Back in the 90s, late 90s.
Yeah. Because at the time it was a pretty big jump. I mean, obviously it was the first 3D Final Fantasy game, and at the time it was a pretty big 3D JRPGs.
Yeah, going full 3D is why they chose the PlayStation over the Nintendo 64, because prior to that, the first 6 games, as well as spin-offs, were all exclusive to Nintendo consoles. And then this came out on PlayStation's console, and it was because the PlayStation allowed them to make much larger experiences with computer-generated CG cutscenes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh, this is an iconic moment where it pans up and you see Cloud looking up at the reactor. That's an iconic moment from the original game. I forgot what I was saying.
Just about the original game and like the marketing for the original.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I was talking about why they switched companies. And published it on Sony instead of Nintendo. Nintendo went with cartridges which were much smaller in size and how much you could store on them. With the PlayStation, they figured we can do multiple discs if we need to, and it was a 3-disc game.
Yeah, you can imagine how many cartridges that would have to be on.
Yeah,
on
it was like 50 meg per cartridge or 700 meg per CD. It's a massive jump, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I guess it's kind of on Nintendo for choosing cartridges that generation.
Yeah, you can find this online. I'm sure it's up on YouTube, but there was a demo that they were working on for a Nintendo 64 game that was going to be Final Fantasy VII, and they eventually just gave up on it. And it's got 3D placeholders that are 3D models of characters from Final Fantasy VI, which is my personal favorite in the series. And they're battling like this giant golem or something. And
I never heard about that.
Yeah, it's a tech demo just to see what they could do on the 64, and they eventually decided against it.
Yeah, you can just do so much more on a CD.
Yeah.
Because how many games were even... sorry, what were you going to say?
There are aspects of the original that, like I said, I think it's overrated. Good, but overrated. There are aspects of the original that absolutely deserve every single bit of praise they get. The music is so fucking good in this game.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, I noticed that too.
Yeah, and this was during a time when a lot of games like this didn't have fully voiced casts, so music played a huge role in driving emotion and stuff, so it was important to get that right.
Oh, yeah.
Fast. We've got company.
Which is like, I wonder how the fans are reacting to the voices for the characters.
Yeah, there's been a little bit of backlash, specifically from social justice warrior types about Barrett's voice.
Why is that?
Because they think he sounds like a stereotypical black guy.
Well, he's a black guy.
Like, anybody who's ever played the original game will tell you that Barrett really is, like, a loud, foul-mouthed black guy, so his voice fits.
Yeah, like, he gives off that vibe.
That's his personality. Like, if I could get Mr. T to play him, I'd be happy as fuck.
Oh my god, he'd be
that
perfect.
would be
oh my
awesome.
God. He would be perfect as fucking Barrett.
That would be so good. Like, even in the little bit that you get of Barrett in this opening scene, these opening scenes in the original game, you still get the sense this is a loudmouth, foul-mouthed. This is a loud, foul-mouthed black guy. That's what Barrett is. That's his personality.
Yeah.
So his voice fits with the personality. I'm wondering how deep into the game this is actually going to go. Because I have heard, and I have not looked this up for myself, I probably should have, but I have heard that it's just the Midgar section of the game.
What demo?
No, the final game.
Oh.
Because the remake is split up into multiple parts, and there will be more parts later on.
Oh, okay. I mean, that makes sense. I guess it's a pretty large game.
Yeah, it's a very large game.
It makes sense.
It's like 2 Blu-ray discs.
Oh, God.
How many games have we had that took up 2 Blu-ray discs?
I honestly can't think of any.
Yeah. But here's my concern, and the concern of everybody else that's played this game. If it's just the Midgar section in the original, that's about the first 5 hours of the game. 10 if you're stretching.
If you're really like exploring and taking it in,
and while 10 hours is just fine if you're playing like a first-person shooter or a 3D platformer or something, for an RPG, that's really fucking short.
Yeah. Because usually a lot of side quests pad out the time, usually.
But I hear they make good guard dogs.
I'm not really sure how the Final Fantasy VII is set up later, in late game and whatnot, but I have no experience with the original, so I don't have really anything to base it off of.
This, for the most part, is pretty fucking faithful to the original.
Yeah.
They've rewritten all the dialogue, thank God, because the original translation was bad.
We can do this with you, or we can do this without you.
It conveyed the story all right, but the translation was not good. There was all kinds of grammatical errors. One of them is being the most infamous is when you go to the wall market, you run across this guy laying on the ground that's sick, and Aerith is like, "This guy are sick."
Oh God. Oh, just classical English.
Yeah.
Classic.
Yeah.
Damn, I'm good.
The translation's not amazing.
Yeah, but I guess there's so much dialogue. I mean, there's got to be a handful. I mean, more than a handful of English moments.
Yeah. This, there are scenes. There are definitely scenes added to this that weren't in the original. I mean, you played through it.
Yeah.
President Shinra does not appear in the original.
Oh yeah. Oh no, because. Yeah, because I got to that cutscene played, I didn't know who it was at all. Because I mean, I've actually played the intro. I played the first part of Final Fantasy VII multiple times. I played the PS4 and PC version a couple times. But yeah, he definitely doesn't show up in the original.
But he does show. I mean, we haven't gotten to that part yet, but he does show up very briefly in this. And President Shinra is going to have a bigger role, which he had like 10 lines in the original game before you left Midgar.
Yeah, because I would assume he's a big person in the late game. I would imagine.
In the original, no, he wasn't. In the original, really? Sephiroth is the main villain.
Oh, Sephiroth, yeah, true.
And I'm sure he'll be the main villain. He has to be the main villain here too. They even they don't flat out they don't show him to you in the actual cutscenes until you get to the little teaser trailer at the very end.
Yeah.
But they hint at him, like when Cloud has that moment right before he plants the bomb, and you see the black feather. That's hinting at Sephiroth. I played through this 3 times, so I'm fairly...
I gotta play it again. It's actually really good. I might actually get this when it comes out.
Yeah, I was very impressed with this. Like, I saw the gameplay at E3 last year, and I was like, this is actually really impressive me. This looks really, really good. This looks like it's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. Might be a little bit too much to juggle, and then I got it and started playing. I'm like, this isn't too much to juggle at all.
Yeah, you start to get the hang of the mixture of action RPG and using like the X button to get the command stuff and your spells and items and stuff. You get the hang of switching between characters. And
Tifa and I.
Yeah, you can still control each character individually if you want. You can switch between them, and you see that later when you get to control Barrett.
Yeah, it's pretty cool how you can just like you can give them commands when you're not playing as them, and you can switch to them if you want to.
Yeah, I do give him commands later. I'm like, hey Barrett, come zap this guy. Okay, here is your first scene with President Shinra.
I guess it does make sense to establish this aspect of the story early on, I would think.
They're doing something here with him that wasn't in the original. Because there wasn't an attempt on his life before you see him for the first time.
Oh, really?
So this is completely new. This is adding to the story.
Yeah, which is good. I mean, any remake needs to have like some new additions to the story and whatnot to make it like fresh and its own thing.
Yeah. If this only goes up to the end of the Midgar section where you escape from Midgar, there are some main characters in this that won't be in this. Red 13, who's my favorite character in the original game, will barely be in this. Like, because you meet him 10 minutes before you leave Midgar.
You really hear that?
In the original. Then there is Kate Sith, who I never really cared for, and Yuffie, who I find kind of annoying, and Sid. You meet and Vincent. All of those characters, you meet them after you leave Midgar. So none of them should be in this first part of the remake, in theory.
Yeah.
Here is where it teaches you about switching characters. Because it has you play here as Barrett. Because Barrett has the gun, so he can shoot these things. And this actually was an enemy that you fought in the reactor in the original game.
Yeah.
So they're incorporated, and the shock trooper, you run into him later on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pretty much all the enemies are from the original portion of this game.
Yeah, which has me wondering if they're going to bring some of them back, because some of them are very weird. Like, when you go through a portion of the slums called the train graveyard that's got all these wrecked trains in it all over the place, you run into a toy house that is like haunted, called the Hell House, and it like the roof of it opens and it like launches missiles at you and shit. It's fucking weird, and I have to wonder if that's going to be in this. Yeah, see, here I am controlling Barrett.
Like, wasn't there like a haunted train in Final Fantasy VI or something?
Yes, there was, and
oh, okay.
The ghost train, and you can suplex it. And it's ridiculous.
Oh my god.
And awesome. And I love it.
That's why you gotta love JRPGs. They're so like surrealistic and weird. Like with their enemy designs and
it is weird. And it's not like you just suplexes. It's not like it's just the engine of the train. No. This train has like 4 or 5 carts that it's carrying. And one of the main characters just grabs the entire thing, just fucking pile drives it to the ground. It's great. It doesn't make a lick of sense, but I love it. It's my favorite.
You gotta love it.
It's my favorite Final Fantasy. I said that. God, I love that game. Were you impressed with how well this runs?
Yeah, really. I mean, like, the graphics are really good, and just it's a really fluid 30 FPS. And
yeah, did you notice a single drop the entire time you were playing it? Because I as fuck didn't.
No, even during the boss fight later on. There wasn't really any drops.
You do have the Scorpion Tank boss, which is the very first boss of the original. In this, he attacks you before the bomb starts counting down, which is a good thing because he's a much harder boss. He takes a lot of hits in this game, in this remake. Yeah, I did much better in this fight against him than I did the first time I fought him. The first time I fought him, I barely fucking survived because I still didn't really know what I was doing, and he ate up all of my potions. I was down to using Cure and Ethers. And Ethers restore your MP, which you need to cast magic.
Yeah, I should have used more of those, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I barely had any potions left too, so.
Yeah, I had none the very first time. This time I beat him and I had like 12, so I did much better this time.
Yeah.
I figured out the combat system. This is my third time through. I did give the classic mode a try just because I was curious what that is, and I'm convinced that just exists if you want to play through the story and nothing else.
I'll go first.
Yeah, what exactly is the classic mode? Because I didn't really try it out yet.
Just keep those baby blues.
The only thing you worry about in classic mode in combat is using the menu to enter commands. Other than that, he attacks, blocks, and rolls and dodges without you helping at all.
So it's kind of like an easy mode, like a very easy mode or something.
Yeah, it's also set to the easy mode setting, so I used like one potion on the Scorpion Tank. That's how easy it is.
Wow, damn.
It's I'm convinced that it exists if you just want to play through the story and nothing else.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's nothing wrong. I mean, you can play the game however you want to, but I think that would just be really boring for me personally.
Yeah, so do I. I don't think this demo is ultra difficult, as it is.
No.
It is harder than the original, but I don't think it's ultra difficult.
Like even the Scorpion Tank bosses, like, it is very hard. It takes a lot of hits, but it is still like manageable when you get the hang of like when to block and stuff like that.
That was the one thing that I wasn't figuring out. Was like I kept trying to dodge roll attacks that you can't dodge roll.
Yeah.
So I kept getting hit, and I was like, "So wait a minute. What if I tried blocking?" And that blocked over half the damage, and I'm like, so this is how I'm supposed to play it.
Yeah, I was playing it like Dark Souls half the time. I was just rolling to try and dodge everything, and it does not work in this game.
Yeah, dodging does have its place. Like, I use dodge rolling to get to the side of the sweeper here, and try to attack his legs. And what you want to do in combat against a tougher enemy like the sweeper or the Scorpion Tank is try to damage it enough so that you stagger it, and then you switch to Punisher mode and just fucking wail on it.
Oh yeah.
That's what you want to do, because when he's staggered, it's a lot like Crisis Core, where they're staggered and they can't attack back.
Yeah, there's like a window of time where you can just wail on them when they're just completely incapacitated.
And you see it says triangle to go to Punisher mode. Punisher mode, Cloud moves slower, can't dodge ranged attacks, but he just deals out a crap ton more damage.
Yeah.
So you definitely want to do that when you stagger an enemy. That's what I did. I eventually did stagger him and just fucking wailed on him with Punisher mode.
And I would like command Barrett to shoot him with one of his like special abilities, and I would just wail on his ass with Punisher.
Yeah,
it goes down pretty easily that way.
It's kind of funny that Barrett actually has the Thunder spell in this, because in the original game he didn't.
Yeah, that's mostly good. I guess it was a way to balance the game to where it's a lot easier, because I mean, I can't imagine him not having it in this remake, because like, especially with the later boss. Because I was using that a lot on the later boss.
Yeah. In the original game, they used Barrett not having magic.
Which makes sense.
Not understanding magic as an excuse to teach you about the materia system. Because he's like, hey, Cloud, I don't know how to use materia. Can you teach me? And it was a tutorial. Like, that's how they snuck the tutorial in there, which is fine. But in this, obviously, you get the tutorial screens, which some fans will bemoan because you always have people do this when there's tutorials.
Yeah, I mean, what can you do? I mean, you gotta teach the new players how to play, and I mean, even like the veterans how to play.
This is where I switched over to the other mode and just fucking wailed on him like this while he's staggered, and then he gets back up.
Yeah, at this point his health's so low, you can probably just hit him with normal attacks.
Yeah, and then I switched back from Punisher mode to Operator mode. And
use some special abilities. And
did you manage to get the limit break attack?
Yeah, I think like 2 times. I think.
Yeah, that was a mechanic in the original. You get a limit break.
Yeah, it happened more frequently in the original. From what I played, from what I played anyway.
Yeah, you get a limit break where you do the significantly more powerful attack, and then you get more and more powerful limit breaks as you leveled up. And there were specific things like it would depend upon like you get so many kills, or you get so many level ups, or you use a limit break so many times, depending on how you would reach the next one.
Yeah.
I really like the reactor music. It's so good.
Hell yeah.
That's our target, the reactor core.
There is the reactor that you're going to blow up.
Let's get down there.
Yeah, one thing I don't miss about the original is the fucking random encounters. Like, I guess that mechanic in general in any JRPG. I just do not like that at all.
Yeah, I don't mind random encounters if the encounter rate isn't that bad. If the encounter rate is through the fucking roof, they get on my nerves. In the original Final Fantasy VII, I don't think, for the most part, the encounter rate was all that bad. It doesn't bother me nearly as much. When I went back and played through Final Fantasy I for the channel, I got so aggravated. I would take a step, battle. Take a step, battle.
I always heard that was like the early Final Fantasies were really bad with that. I always saw like videos of that, and it looks so annoying.
Yeah, it was really bad with that. Boy, I just love how this game looks. Oh, and I have to do this. I'm still in a dream, Snake Eater.
Oh,
every single time I climb down a ladder, that gets stuck in my head. In any video game. Any video game since I first played that in like 2005. Every single time I climbed down a big ladder. I actually saw a video preview of this that someone did where it was showing this part where you were climbing down the ladders, and I took that out and I got the audio from Snake climbing down the ladder where he oh yeah, here it stops you from going over there because that's not the way you're supposed to go. So Jessie she's like, don't go that way, go this way. So I guess the game will just stop you if you try to go out of bounds or something. Kind of annoying.
It seems, especially for like an RPG, it's kind of weird.
Yeah. Climbing those ladders has to be a pain in the ass for Barrett. And you can do that like big fucking heavy ass gun on your hand.
You can only grip with one hand. It's like, what the fuck? How does he even do that?
Yeah.
Damn.
Fucking black version of Mega Man over here.
Yeah. It's a more badass version of Mega Man.
Yeah, Barrett's pretty cool. There's no way of sugarcoating it. In this game, you play as eco-terrorists.
Yeah, pretty much. the story.
Yeah, that's basically what you are. Barrett runs a group called Avalanche who is showing up at this reactor to blow it up. Blowing up a reactor is eco-terrorism. I don't know. I mean, what else do you want? How else am I supposed to put that?
Like, no way sugarcoating it, like you said. I guess in the world you're in, it's like the most. I guess it's the most logical thing you can do if you're at the bottom of the totem pole. I guess you can say.
Yeah. One thing that
Literally.
this does that the original didn't is it shows the consequences of your action, because you actually watch all the power and lights just go out when the reactor blows up.
Yeah, it was a cool cutscene.
Yeah, and it's like okay, I just assumed that happened when I first did this in the original, but it's nice to actually see it, you know?
Yeah.
Boy, this game's gorgeous. I'm really impressed with how it looks and runs.
Yeah, damn straight. I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick.
Okay. This is actually right before we get into the Scorpion boss fight. I don't remember why I paused here. I probably got distracted. Somebody called me away from the computer or something. But this is right before the Scorpion boss fight, right before you plant the bomb. And the timer for the bomb does not start until after you fight the Scorpion boss, which again is a good thing because that Scorpion boss can take you upwards of 20 minutes just to beat. He's got a lot of health, takes a lot to take down. He's not that difficult if you know how to play this game right, which I figured it out how to play it properly in this third playthrough here. I was like, oh, okay, so this is how I'm supposed to do it. But,
Get back.
okay, welcome back. This is how I'm supposed to do it. So I did much better this time, but this happened in the original where he's just about to plant the bomb and he gets like this headache. See that black feather there? That's hinting at Sephiroth.
What's wrong?
That's a hint to him appearing much later on in the game.
What about
Because in this remake, there's a couple other instances where you had that same thing happen to him, where he kind of just got that way earlier, and in the original game, I don't remember it happening at that point.
Okay, so this you can actually select how long you want to set the timer for, and he's like pretty cocky if you select 20 minutes, which I did.
That's what I did the first time.
And then he's like, oh, you're a wuss if you select 30 minutes.
Heads up.
Oh.
And 20 minutes is fucking plenty.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, I got out of this... after this boss fight, I got out with like 12 minutes. But yeah, here's the Scorpion boss. It's the very first boss of this game. I do not remember why I paused here. I probably kept getting interrupted by people while I was playing. I played just like 3 nights ago, and I already don't remember.
But this boss makes me wonder how the other bosses will be
It's got reinforced armor.
in terms of how much more damage they'll take.
Yeah. He's got new attacks too, like that ground pound right there that sent out electricity. Here, I noticed my health was low, and I kept trying to fix that and not being able to.
Yeah, I have that problem so often. That was a common occurrence.
Yeah, because you have to fill out your ATB gauge in order to use it. And you fill out your ATB gauge by doing things like attacking him and blocking enemy fire. But I was at 300 health and I was paranoid. I'm gonna die. I should have done this before the fucking battle. And I didn't. Why didn't I heal?
I had to use a Phoenix down once, I think.
Oh, I didn't use the Phoenix Sound in any of my
Oh.
playthroughs. Did you save Jesse?
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Because you get the option to if you want to. You don't have to. It does not make you save Jesse. But if you want to, you can. And that was in the original game as well. She gets her foot stuck in both. In the original game, she gets her foot stuck in like a beam or something.
Yeah.
And they change it up a little bit here. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's like not saving the dog at the beginning of RE4. Like, why would you not save Jesse?
Yeah. Well, the dog in RE4 also comes back to help you later on.
Yeah.
Likely. Here, this will happen. He'll grab you, and you just need to switch characters and then hit him.
Yeah. They break their hold.
Yeah. It's that tail sweep had such a large reach. I thought I was out of the range of it there, but nope, he got me.
Think whatever you want. Just do it.
Yeah, like once you get the hang of his attacks and whatnot, it's not too hard to manage, I would think.
And there, Barrett used electricity. I love his like. See how much damage that did?
You know,
like,
Barrett.
He's like, look at me being awesome.
You're doing better than what I did first time.
I love the way Cloud and Barrett just kind of bicker back and forth in this.
Yeah, they got an interesting chemistry.
Yeah, I mean, in both this and the original, he is a mercenary hired by Avalanche to help them fight their way through this reactor.
In the Axel part, too. For sure.
Yeah.
I like these little, like in-battle, like, cutscene things, too, as well.
I love how colorful it is. It's so
Yeah.
pretty.
Plan genius.
Like,
It's just good to look at in general.
this is something I definitely don't miss about the last generation is how everything was brown and gray and black and
Yeah. It's like, thank
all
God
these
this wasn't a
earth
remake.
tones.
Like, thank God this wasn't a remake on the PS3. Like, holy crap.
Yeah, it
Oh my
would
God.
have looked like Gears of War.
They really would have, honestly. That's what's scary about it.
Find a way.
Yeah, I don't want it to look like nothing against Gears of War. You know, I did a positive review on that.
Yeah,
But,
it's a good game.
Need a light.
It's a fun, especially co-op. I had a lot of fun playing through it with you.
Yeah. It was good revisiting that game after a long time.
We'll eventually do 2 and 3.
Gotta get Xbox One sometime.
Don't overdo it.
Yeah, get an Xbox One or an Xbox One X.
Or go down in flames.
2 and 3 both have enhanced X support, which is cool.
Oh yeah.
You play them in 4K, which is awesome.
Get better frame rates, I assume.
Yes, more stable frame rates, yeah. Sharper image quality, all that good stuff. And here I
Here we go.
can use his limit break cross slash.
Adapt.
And there he is staggered, so I'm gonna go just fucking wail on him for a bit. Or pressured, rather. I forgot, you pressure enemies so they have trouble moving, and then you use that as an excuse to try to stagger them.
Think it through.
Then you switch to Punisher mode and just fucking wail on them. Here I am using Thunder on him again. But yeah, I enjoyed the hell out of this boss fight. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was tense for like the first half of it. Like I was like, oh my god, it takes so many damn hits.
Yeah.
Like, after you get the hang of his after you get the hang of his moves and whatnot, it's not too. I mean, it's not too bad, but like at the same time, I was using so much potion.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Probably go back and do a much better job of it this time. Play through it again.
Yeah.
Overall, I was like, this sold me on the game. This demo more than sold me on the game. Like, I was already probably going to buy it anyway because I fucking love this series for the most part. There's some that I don't like. 8 isn't very good. 13 can rot in the deepest pits of hell.
Yeah.
I fucking hate 13.
Taking over.
But 7 I do kind of like, and I've been kind of excited about this remake. See what they do with the new battle system and expanded lore and everything. I wonder if Advent Children or Crisis Core or Before Crisis or Dirge of Cerberus or any of those, that shit is still canon.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about, like like Resident Evil as well. That's remakes. It's like I don't know if I guess the remakes are just canon by default, but and the other like spin-offs from the original game aren't. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. I don't know if it's still canon. For the most part, I thought as far as the compilation is concerned, didn't really like Advent Children. I haven't seen Advent Children complete, but the original Advent Children, there's like no sense of urgency to the. When he gets up this shield, you need to get behind him and attack him on that one little port on his ass, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
But there's like no sense of urgency to the cuts, the battles in it. Like, it feels like the characters are never in any real danger. Here is what they do with the big tail attack that he did in the original game. You need to run up here and hide behind the debris.
Yeah.
When he prepares his tail attack. Because this was a big deal originally. They said don't attack him while his tail is up, because he'll have a powerful counter attack if you do.
He'll fuck you up if you get hit by that in the original game. And you don't have as many potions in the original game as well, so.
Yeah. And I suppose it could be argued that it makes it a little too easy to dodge.
Yeah. I guess it kind of balances the game. I guess it balances just how much damage he does and how much damage you do to him, and
yeah, how much damage it takes to take down versus the original.
Yeah. Like, I wonder how many fans are complaining about the fact that it's an action RPG, not turn-based.
I like that about it.
I really like the action RPG a lot more, actually.
I don't mind turn-based combat, but I mean, my favorite RPG of all time is a turn-based combat. That's Final Fantasy VI. But one of my other favorite RPGs of all time is an action RPG, and that's Diablo 2.
Yeah.
Boy, do I love Diablo 2. It's so good. I'll happily play through that again. We need to let's play Diablo 3 or something.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I only played a little bit of that.
How are we looking? Still got almost 20 minutes to go. Great!
Yeah, this boss fight's like almost half of the demo.
Yeah, this is a
Honestly.
long boss fight. And here he goes with the tail attack again. So you run and you hide and just kind of wait it out. But I thoroughly enjoyed my 3 playthroughs of this. I was really impressed. Like, it seriously cuts down on the time you spend playing through it if you do the classic mode or easy mode, because it's so much easier than this.
Heck, I don't even know if I want to play it on classic mode, because that'd be too easy.
Yeah, that was my consensus, was it was too easy. I played through it just to see what it was.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was going to talk about it, I should at least have some clue what it is.
Now, go.
Because I saw that when I first started the game, and I was like, is this like more closely like related to like how the original game plays? But like, I guess not.
Yeah, it's really not. I think that's what a lot. I should have used my limit break here. Did I? Because he's almost dead.
I would use a potion. I mean, that makes sense. I would do that too.
Yes, I did. So I did use my limit break twice.
Because you probably use them on the legs later on in the fight, or here, right here actually.
Is this where he is this? Did I beat him, or is this where he does the?
Well, I think this is where he.
healing?
Yeah, this is where he. This is where you start attacking his legs and stuff. I think.
Yeah, this is where he heals himself.
Oh man, I always hate that shit about bosses. It's like the worst thing.
Yeah, I remember fighting a boss in Diablo 2 once where he had the heal combined with his teleport. So he would just teleport over and over and over again, and we'd be chasing him all over the fucking arena, and then he'd be fully healed. And we wailed on this guy for like an hour before we were just like, fuck this, and left. Because we weren't making any headway. We weren't beating him.
Yeah, this is cheap.
Yeah. And it's the only time I've ever run across that, because that shit's kind of randomized sometimes in Diablo, where you'll just get some... Because you know how you'll just get like the randomly named characters, this one's far more powerful than all the rest.
Yeah.
It's you'll just run into them while you're running out in the field. It's not the end boss or quest boss or whatever. Just some rando that happens to be more powerful. It was one of those, and we couldn't fucking beat it, but just because he kept healing himself. It was annoying. And we eventually just fucking gave up.
Yeah, shit's always the worst. Yeah, when this boss started doing it, and I was like, oh my god, please no.
Yeah,
I got worried.
Just start healing himself. Now he doesn't heal himself super fucking fast.
It's not as bad as I thought at first. I was like, oh please don't heal half your fucking HP or something like that. That'd be so annoying.
And here I got lucky and staggered him, and was able to take him out.
He's dead as shit. There we go.
There, and Cloud gained a level. He went to level 8. I've actually been playing through this game slowly, and I'm very, very close to the end of Disc 1.
Oh damn!
If you don't know what major event happens at the end of Disc 1, I'm not going to spoil it for you.
What is it? What's her face dying?
Yep.
That's like the most. That's like the most like spoiled twist like gaming history. I think at this point.
Yeah,
it's like so infamous. Yeah,
at least
so,
one of them. Because it broke fucking everybody's heart. We were just like, holy shit. Most of us were like 10 years. A lot of us were like 10 years old when that fucking game came out, and we were like, characters can die?
Yeah, it's
permanently.
Like, yeah, I really wish I didn't. I mean, I don't know if I could ever not get spoiled by that if I didn't play it when I was a kid or whatnot. But like, oh man, I wish I didn't know that going into this game.
Yeah, it's like have your kids watch the original Star Wars trilogy when they're still young, before they get the chance to spoil it. You know,
for
that
real.
kind of thing.
Like I don't even know if when I watched Empire, if I did know that Darth Vader was his father or not. But I mean, like either way, it's like, I mean, if you go into that not knowing that twist, then that is some like next level shit.
Yeah, it's a mind blowing twist if you don't see it coming. I remember being shocked by it. It's like, because I first watched it back in the 90s, you know?
Yeah.
When the internet couldn't spoil it for you. And here is where you can save Jesse. Cloud, I don't know how the fuck he gets launched forward and onto this pipe, but he does. And you can move to the side like this. The one unfortunate thing is it doesn't really give you a good indication of which way you need to go to save Jesse.
Yeah, I went right at first, and you couldn't really move that much, so I was like, oh, I guess I gotta go this way.
Look after Jesse.
Yeah.
Come this way.
She actually hits on him multiple times throughout this.
Yeah. He's just no interest whatsoever.
Yeah, she makes it very clear that she it mentions Tifa in one cutscene, and she's a character that you meet shortly after this demo ends. You know what's kind of interesting is this demo follows the exact same path as the original demo. It was just the first reactor run in the original demo for the original game.
Yeah, it's a good place to stop because like after that you just go back to their town and there's a lot of dialogue and backstory and whatnot.
Yeah, that's where you meet Tifa at the bar.
Yeah,
And Barrett's
child and
yeah, Marlene. Marlene, that's her name.
Sorry, it keeps me
Jesus Christ, I'm playing through it. You think I would know that?
yeah.
Right off the
It's
top
gonna-
of my head, but I guess not. Marlene's her name.
Yeah. It's gonna be cool exploring those areas in this remake later on, like when it comes out.
Yeah.
Let's see what they
looking
look
forward to
like.
Hearing more of the soundtrack, like, because boy, the soundtrack is so
Find
good.
us the way out of here.
But then,
I've always loved, like, it's always been one of my favorite aspects of this game is the music. And this does it justice. It really does. Like, the original relies heavily on, like, MIDI kind of things, high-quality MIDI kind of things. This is fully orchestrated, and it sounds gorgeous orchestrated. I love it.
Just gotta hope there's a vinyl release later in the future.
Yeah, I would love to get a vinyl release. Somebody start releasing more game soundtracks on vinyl. I'll buy that shit. Like,
Oh yeah.
somebody make an official release of Doom and Doom 2 on vinyl, and I will buy that shit
Yeah.
yesterday.
Yeah, like official ones too. I know there's a bootleg of the Ultimate Doom soundtrack, but I mean like actual official soundtracks would be really cool
Yeah,
on vinyl.
yeah, I would love that.
There's a big market for it.
There's a number of soundtracks that I would love. Like this, Final Fantasy 5 and 6 and 4. Chrono Trigger would be a great soundtrack on vinyl. You might like Chrono Trigger. It's got the turn-based
Yeah.
battles, but it does not have random encounters.
Oh, yeah, I would really like that if that's the case because I do like turn-based combat. I just the whole random encounters thing kind of gets kind of frustrating after a while. So if it doesn't have that, then it'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. What's the name of the guy that draws Dragon Ball?
Was it
Toriyama?
Akira something?
Is it Toriyama? Is that it? Akira Toriyama?
Yeah, Toriyama. Yeah. Akira Toriyama.
Yeah, he does the character design. He did the character design for Chrono Trigger.
Yeah, and it shows.
And it looks like it. Like, he's got a very highly recognizable style that stands out in anime. Which, given how many animes just look like each other, that's
Yeah.
kind of cool. But it does lend more charm to the game. Like that Chrono Trigger has a lot of charm. It's got wonderful music, a likable cast of characters. Robo's theme is Never Gonna Give You Up. I'm not even making that up.
Wow.
Look it up on YouTube sometime and fucking listen to it. It's Never Gonna Give You Up by Rick Astley. That's what it is.
It's
And
even
here
better.
comes the Shock Trooper.
Yeah, they're pretty beefy enemies. I mean, they're still like it's a good in between like hard and easy in terms of like their HP pool.
Yeah, the Shock Trooper have these weird like arm bands that fire some kind of laser weapon on them. They're kind of strange looking.
Yeah.
Oh, I was a little bit earlier on that, but you do run into a Shock Trooper somewhere around here.
Like you felt like two of them at the same time coming up here in a little bit.
Yeah, but Chrono Trigger is a very, very good game. One of the best Japanese RPGs ever made.
Yeah, I always heard that.
It's got a time travel plot, and time travel plots are hard to do right.
Yeah, for obvious reasons.
Here's the Shock Trooper.
Yeah, there we go. First you want.
The thing about time travel plots is it's easy to nitpick them. It's like, okay, so why don't they just go to this specific time and do this instead of what they did do? And a lot of people did that with Endgame. A lot less people, and this is set up in such a way that this game is set up in such a way that it's a lot harder to nitpick like that. Like, it's a very well handled, very well thought out time travel plot. Like,
Yeah.
like in Back to the Future, where they can pinpoint the exact moment that things went wrong and go to that exact moment and try to fix it. It's like that.
Like it manages to like play on the time travel aspect of the story in a really clever way.
Yeah, it sets its rules and it follows them very, very closely, which you absolutely need to do. Here is the closest I got to that.
Oh shit, yeah.
Yeah.
That's close.
Final Fantasy VII doesn't have anything like that. It doesn't have any time travel. 8's got weird time manipulation like time travel. 8's a stupid game. The plot in 8 is stupid.
Yeah.
It's still a masterpiece compared to 13, which doesn't make any sense no matter how I look at it. But 8's pretty stupid.
Yeah.
I like 9 a lot though.
Yeah, like I always heard 9 was actually pretty decent. Obviously,
Yeah,
8's 8. Just say that much.
Yeah, the producer on this game, Yoshinori Kitase, who's been at Square since sometime in like the mid '90s or something. I don't know how long he's been at Square. I know his credits go back at least to Final Fantasy VI, so he's been there forever. But he has expressed interest in remaking this game. Or in remaking Final Fantasy V like he did this game.
That's
which
interesting.
I'm all for, but my first thought when I heard that was 5? Really?
Yeah, it's kind of weird. You don't really hear
I like
too much about
5, but it's not a fan favorite. It's not like Praise to High Heavens like 4 and 6, which are obvious choices. Because everybody loves 4 and 6. And then as soon as you hit that elevator, it doesn't matter how much time you got left. It
blows up.
shows the thing going down to like 3, 2, 1, and it blows up. In the original game, that bomb was enough to blow up the entire reactor. And this, first off, they didn't have cell phones that looked like that.
No, definitely not.
But in this, they have Shinra attacking their own, and I am interested in this. I want to know what the fuck they're up to, because
That's interesting.
there has to be a reason for this, right?
Yeah. So I wonder if the story's going to go in like not a completely different direction, but there's going to be some serious seriously different plot points that happen.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of hinting at something like bigger. Because that's kind of off when you think about it.
Yeah. How close to the end are we?
Not too much long. Not too much long.
About 3 minutes. Boy, we did manage to talk throughout this entire thing, didn't we?
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about, which is good.
Yeah. But yeah, they're going somewhere with that, and I want to know what it is. So that's got me interested. So that just goes to show you that they are adding more to this game. They would need to at least double the length. Like, if you take your time, you could get 10 hours out of Midgar. They would at least need to double those 10 hours
I'll take that as a
in
yes.
order to get something that's somewhat acceptable as an RPG. And even then, 20 hours is a pretty short RPG. You know?
Yeah.
Okay, that
Although,
was
if an
pretty
RPG is 20 hours and it's all killer, no filler, I have no problem with that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Because you don't want something that's bloated and has moments where it's kind of stale and kind of stagnates. I mean, you want it to be like in the zone for
Yeah, Final Fantasy 13 is like that. Like, there's literally a moment in Final Fantasy 13 where they wrote into the script, not word for word, but they wrote into the script, this area exists to level your characters. This area exists to grind level
Just come
your
here and
characters.
grind. Yep.
This is the area where you grind. Okay, and there I beat it. This is just the little
This is, yeah.
post thing trailer that plays immediately after it, where you get a bunch of scenes that if you played the original game, you're gonna recognize all of these. Hello again, Aerith.
Like these events happen directly after what just happened. It's like a little montage.
Yeah, this parts of this montage. Yeah, this
yeah.
You meet Aerith, you buy a flower from her, you get attacked by things, and then you hop on the train to try to escape, and after getting surrounded by enemies.
That looks cool. Looks like there'll be more to it.
All of that happens in the original, and then you wind up back on the train with Barrett. And here we get the villain with one of the most iconic scenes in the game, where he's just standing around in fire.
And for some reason his hair isn't catching on fire.
Yeah, I figured that one out. It's a cool image.
Yeah, it's
made more sense when it was a robot in Terminator, you know?
Yeah, yeah, I see what you mean.
Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe down below. It'd be greatly appreciated. We'll talk to you guys next time. Thanks, everybody, and goodbye.
And
there you go.